Good evening. I'm Crimson with Shine a Light in the Dark, and I'm here with the amazing Elvin from Spillage, and he is going to do us the great honor of giving us a little moonlight tonight. So, can you kind
Hi.
of tell me what y'all are currently working on and a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. So I'm the singer in the band Spillage. We're based out of Chicago, Illinois, and we just released a record last in September of last year. And the band, it's called Phase Four. It's our fourth album, and we just did that. So we're kind of, we're playing a few shows, and we've been writing some new stuff a little bit here and there, to because we love writing songs a lot. So uh, we're just doing that and rehearsing, and got a few shows ready, but always writing new stuff. Life goes on. After you. It's always a piece of you when you record an album, and it's like where you're at now, and you just want to just keep writing music, depending on who you're playing with. So doing that right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No, that makes complete sense. And I heard you talking about how like too that you were in the process of writing, some new stuff. What is so I kind of want to start by asking so I believe music is like its own entity, right? It never wants to misunderstand us. It's trying to draw us into the artist world to where we can feel seen, heard, and understood. What is kind of the world that you want to create for your listeners to go join you in?
Um, I don't know. I'm pretty open to just kind of giving how I feel in any given moment to you know express how share that with somebody, and just if it motivates them, that's awesome. Um, um, but it starts there. So it's always, you know, how I'm feeling, and how somebody would connect to that, I guess. So that yeah.
No, no, that's awesome. Where do you so when you're sitting down to write and stuff, what does that process look like for you? Do you already kind of know what you're fixing to write about, or do you have to kind of get in a zone? And what does that process look like?
It's always a little bit different, depending on what you're given. Like sometimes for Spillage, as like now, I'll say there's two new songs we're currently writing, and it all starts with maybe the guitar player sending me an arrangement of an entire song, and I'll listen to that, and it's odd. Sometimes we'll come up with a title, or there'll be like a title. The guitar player will write the arrangement and say, hey, it feels like this, so this is the title. Um, Love and Alchemy was a song from my guitar player Nick. He said, "Hey, Love and Alchemy. That's can we work with that title?" And I think the music was actually Tony, the other guitar player. So, and I would take that and 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 come up with something. So the new song I'm kind of came up with on my own, and it was, to me at that time, it was so the title is called In Time. So to me, In Time meant um I was always, sometimes I just, there was a curious thing that somebody said, that made me really think one day, like, wow, like we're the only one of the only species that knows we're gonna die someday. You know what I mean? We're gonna pass. Not other species know that. Like a dog doesn't know it's just gonna die. It just, so it was kind of a weird thing to me, and I started writing about that, and it was in time. So there was lyrics to where it was like, in life we learn lessons, in time we will bloom. Um, we live with temptation. Temptation's always around us. It feeds, it tries to consume. So it's just, that's the subject I kind of just dwelled with, more of the question of, wow, this is, you're kind of in your mind, you know, how you deal with that. You know what I mean? You live the best life that you can, if possible. Um, and we all know that in time that's going to happen. So what are you going to do with your life now is the main thing. So it's always, I always like to dwell in that. Sometimes that may be a little, some people will be like, yeah, you can't talk about that, or that's too dark or something like that. But we all think about that. We all have to live with that. So it was just that's an example of, how do I take a song and work with that subject. So something like that.
I love actually at the end where you mentioned that that's a little dark and some people are like, you shouldn't dwell there. But I think like some of our most beautiful things about us are in the dark that we try to suppress or deny. Like we labeled it somewhere along the line, good or bad, but those emotions are creative and they're powerful and they're even alchemaic, kind of like you were talking about, like that part that comes through at the end. And it was funny because when you were talking about in time, like knowing that we're gonna die, but we're also one of the only people that are one of the only things that even keep track of time in general, to know the hour and where we're
Yeah.
at, and even to even understand the shortness or the longevity of life, to see how like those lessons can bloom. And I guess
Right.
like, one of my questions would be for you, like what maybe like I love how you're like pondering that and going deeper and even to that self-awareness and that realization of those kinds of things. Like what for you, like where do you find your catharsis like when you're writing?
Um, what do you define catharsis as to you?
Mainly just like the extreme releasing of whatever emotion you were trying to express, finally feeling like it was expressed. Is it through writing or through playing or on stage or when it's recorded? But through your music, where do you actually feel the release of it?
Oh, definitely live. It's great um, to really let it out more after, you really, the job is done after the song is made and then recorded and then that's done. And then the next challenge is to play it live. And that really, and you're surrounded by, your members, that energy, you need that. That's a real, just a real goal that feels great at the end. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's all that live energy, like the energy between you and the crowd, right? It's kind of like that give and take of
The
both
connection. Yeah.
parties participating
Yeah.
in this beautiful kind of alchemic process. And I guess kind of my next question for you would be like you were talking about being in that space and writing your lyrics and kind of that contemplation, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
do you kind of already have, so I'm assuming kind of like you said that you're going with just like you hear the riff, or is there ever like maybe an emotion that you feel like you already want to express or something like that that you ever write like that kind of triggers it? Or and how do you stay so emotionally vulnerable in your lyrics? Because I love the emotional vulnerability in your lyrics.
No, thank you. Practice. I mean, a lot of practice. And yeah, but just being true to myself, that's the biggest challenge to me is, or the biggest reward to me is when I finally feel like, oh, that's me. That's really coming from me. Oh my God. Ooh, like wow, did I just say that? That's cool. Yes, and then you just get better and better and better at that. So I love doing that. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, what else was your question?
How you really, go about staying true to yourself, because it's sometimes vulnerability can be kind of hard for us. And, you know, from the time we're children, right, we're taught so many lies about ourselves. You're not this enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not kind enough, or you're not this, that, or the other. And so through life, we really have to break down all the kind of lies that we're told about ourselves and grow into our authentic self and become our vulnerable self. And so I guess like when you were talking about like kind of one of the rewards about being you, how do you really stay true to that? And when that becomes challenging for you, what really helps you overcome it?
Um, Confidence is a big thing that really um, I strive for because I was so shy growing up, just never just like in a shell, and wasn't I was always very shy. Um, so I think when I wanted to sing, which was around maybe 15, 16 years old, after being just, in love with music and just reading lyrics and just like, wow, I want to try that. Or, there was never ever, uh, everybody in the band was a guitar player or a drummer or something. Nobody was like a singer who would step up. And I was like the shy one that you'd never expect it. But I would be like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Because I want to sing the lyric. I want to try to sing that song, from Slayer. Oh, I want to sing that song. You know what I mean? And try to do it. And then, hey, he's okay. Elvis the singer because, because he could do it. So that's the first step in getting confidence in myself for a long time in my teenage years. And to this day, that helps you lyrically when you write lyrics down, more confident in being just genuine and being more open and how I would feel at the moment. And people connect to that. That's cool. I'm just doing it first because that's how I feel. And knowing certain things, or that people would connect to is a plus. So yeah.
I think that's beautiful. Like when you're talking about being shy and really like stepping up and then also knowing kind of what people connect to and stepping up and taking that space for yourself first, right? And I think that that's that important part about authenticity, right? Is like
It took a
for
while.
you.
I'm still always working on that though. That's the thing. I'm never like, you're striving to be perfect, but you're never going to be perfect. And that's the, life, when you grow up,
Yeah.
those mistakes that you make, that makes you a better person in the end. Later on, I'm like, I had to go through that in order to feel, a better, go to that next step and just be like, okay, just be a better person.
No, it's true. One of the funny things about like when I first started therapy, I used to try to stop people from, I used to try to help people avoid those little mistakes. And then I realized that by doing that, though, I was setting them up for bigger pitfalls because they didn't learn the lesson when it was on a little scale and they ended up learning the lesson on a big scale,
Yeah,
and so I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of like one of those first initiation moments into therapy when I first started, was realizing that, those little moments, because we can never achieve perfection and it's not even a realistic goal, but you know it is, I think we frown so much on mistakes, but it's those mistakes that challenge us and help us to grow and become the people that we really are. Otherwise we
sure,
become kind of complacent.
sure, absolutely. And I've learned that as a musician too. Like the people that you're around are a really big decision. It's a big thing in changing who you could be, really. Like I mean, when I was young, um, I usually hung around old, people that were pretty much older than me, which were, I had two older brothers, so I would hang around with them, their friends or whatever. And so I learned pretty quick, a lot of things. Um, yeah, so
So no, that's awesome. So you said that you have two older brothers?
yeah, so I have two older brothers, and yeah.
Do they, so like what did that look like kind of growing up when you decided you wanted to be a musician? Did you have a lot of family support? Like are they musicians as well? What did that look like when you decided that you wanted to really do this and to be a singer?
I was basically a burnout who was listening to metal and just, I want to be a singer. You know what I mean? I did some community college and stuff like that, but I just wanted to be a singer. I wanted to rock and roll and do all that stuff. So I was, you know, they were like, this is going to lead to nowhere, Elvin. You know what I mean? You got to, have a plan B and have a job and all that stuff. But, and I still do that, have that and have those, in my life, but still to this day, I need to play music and song. It's a part. It's who I am. You know what I mean? It was never like a farce. How some people. It's achievable with work. Just like anything else. But doing what you love is, this is, the music business is, to write albums and do all that. I'm successful in that aspect. You know what I mean? I'm not selling millions of records right now, but the success of working at it since I was a kid and my brothers, being supportive, but also like, get a job, you get your shit together. Yeah, but not understanding that this is more than just, you know, just being a rock star or, playing shows and all that stuff. I love writing and expressing myself, and it's so hard to do that with people that could, that can really do that. I think, you know what I mean? I don't know that many people. Um, so I feel it's a blessing that I can do that and just get better and better and better at it. And still at this age, I've been doing this for about 30 years or so. Um, and I'm not going to stop. It's like it's a part of me. Yeah. So, and they're supportive of it now, way more. And still, they're really happy. I just sent my niece and my two brothers both have a niece and nephew. So, I give them albums or whatever, and of mine, they're like, wow, they're like 18, 19 now. So they're in that stage where they're seeing Pantera, Metallica now. When I used to go to shows with their father, when they were first doing that Metallica back in the 90s or 80s. So it's so cool that they're seeing that I love writing music, and they can see that with other bands and see how songs are written. So that's so cool to me when it all comes full circle. Just, love of music.
No, that's freaking amazing. And I'm so excited about that like full circle part for you. And like and even like with
Thank you.
success, I think that it always depends on how we define it because like you said, you've stayed true to yourself and your goal and your passion and expressing your soul for forever. And I feel like to that extent, like that to me is like of the utmost success because it's so hard in today's society to stay true to yourself and to maintain that vulnerability. Somewhere along the line, people started talking, people I think thought strength meant to close up your emotions and to be tough and to push everybody away and to keep guards up.
I did that for many, many years. I did that for
I did
many,
too.
you know what I mean? With the whole just, yeah, I mean, culture has changed big time now. Um, and, you can see the difference with, how old my niece and nephew are. And when I was that age, it was way, I was a little tough guy, a little burnout, come here, girl, people, that's just how it was at that time. You know what I mean? And, things, you know, like that now, it's just, it's way more, way more open, way more relaxed. So it's interesting. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. And I think that it's beautiful because it's allowed people to realize that real strength was actually the harder choice, which was to express ourselves and to really let people into our lives and into ourselves. And like when I was listening to your music, I think that was one of the main things I noticed was is that it was almost like a window into your soul. There's an old quote that says that the job of a musician is like that of a lover, to awaken yourself to the parts of yourself that you never knew existed and to show you a world that you never knew.
Yeah, that's
And
beautiful.
through
I like
that,
that.
thank you. And through that vulnerability, that's really what it does is my daughter, she's so funny. I told you a little bit kind of like how I grew up. So I grew up not knowing how to express my emotions and very like I was one of those people that was like stay 20, because it was a sign of weakness to express emotions, how I grew up and where I grew up. So my daughter, I had her when, my son I had him when I was 14 and my daughter when I was 16. But so I was really young when I had them. So I didn't even know how to express my emotions fully, and by God's good graces, through a long time now, she's much better at it. But used to like one of the things that she's really always done is she when she can't express herself, she'll find a song and she'll like shove the lyrics at me. She'll be like, "Hey mom, listen to this song. This song right here tells you exactly how I feel." She's like,
That's
"I don't
great.
have the words to say it. I can't be vulnerable enough to say it." But because the artist laid all that vulnerability on the track, not only was it able to communicate to me how she felt, but it was
Yeah.
also able to help her understand and articulate how she felt because she didn't even understand it until she listened to the song.
That's a great connection to kind of, yeah, that's awesome. That's beautiful to hear that. That's one way, like she didn't know how to say anything to you, but she was like, here. And that makes a lot of sense because I've always thought that with relationships, such as your mother and your daughter, but I mean with like relationships with other people, this is how I feel. I'm angry, you know what I mean? I've done that before. Well, I'll send a song to somebody and say, this is how I feel right now. Or, what I mean, like, why'd you send the song to me? Like, listen to the lyrics. You know what I mean? Because yeah, that's great. And then you can help each other after that, right? It's because you kind of understand her now, and then you can be there to support her, and that makes her feel better, and then you move on from there, right?
Yeah, I know. I like the way you used it, even like with relationships, because sometimes it can be so difficult, especially like if we are angry with people that we're close to like sometimes I don't want to express that because if I express that anger too much in a heated moment, right? Like I could say something I regret, or maybe I don't even know how to express it, but the song will tell you like how I'm feeling, and then we can talk about it. But I just
I've
need
written I've
to get,
I've written songs about other people. I'm sorry to cut you off.
oh no, go ahead.
I've written songs about like I there's band members. There may be one or two where there's like I'm not very good friends with them anymore. So there's one called Eyes of a Snake. I'll just say I'm not gonna say who it's about, but it's about a certain member like after whatever I don't trust you anymore kind of thing. So I get that. That's from a relationship. I've written there's a certain song I'm not going to get too deep into. Um, that's on the new album that I wrote about someone. It was which people could connect with too, like someone you work with, and then you have a crush on that person, and how do you handle that? And then the obsession kicks in, and then why don't you like me? And why am I, what am I saying wrong? What's wrong with me? And that's the whole song. And then in the end, you wrap it up with, okay, this person pretty much abruptly tells you, not into you, whatever, or whatever. And then you go to that stage where you have to deal with the fear of rejection and,
Yeah,
and then turning it around and saying, okay, I have to rid this. This is starting to ruin my life. I have to step away and then accepting it. And then, and then that's it. And then stop. And it ends. So it's like that. That's from something that happened to me, and how I dealt with it, and just know it was like the longing of something that you can't have. So it was just something like that. So
yeah,
that's a relationship song, because it's someone you work with or something like that. So yeah, if I'm like, oh, I gotta write down, you know what I mean? Or this will make a perfect, subject. Let me work on that. So, and the rest of the band will work with me on that too. Like I said, they'll come up with the topic and say, okay, how do we write this? Or, I don't know if you have any questions on certain songs that you what the topics are about on the new album. You can ask me. I can tell you because there was a lot going on that last album um, when it comes
yeah.
to
No,
topics.
actually, I was gonna ask you what your favorite song on the new album is and why you loved it the most. What was the hardest and most challenging on the album? And then number three, what was the one that you were unsure about?
Okay, let's go one at a time because I'm scatterbrained a little bit. Um, okay, so my first one is my favorite song on the album. Um, okay, so what I have, by the way. So these are little tiles. So that's the new album. So this
I
is
love
called
that.
Spill. So it's Spillage Phase 4. Okay, so Phase 4. There's 8 songs on the record, and three of those songs kind of it wasn't like meant. It wasn't on purpose, but became like almost like a concept, kind of like a story. That Phase 4, we were going through COVID. Phase 4 is kind of like experiments, going on, like the phases that they go through till that drugs approved or whatever. So the COVID thing was going on. So there's it was like fiction but nonfiction. It was about the mad scientist kind of thing. So that's what Phase 4, the topic was about. And then there was another song after that because it felt like it was that was in a phase, Phase 4, and then Rise of the Machines. is a little bit further into the album, but that song is kind of how AI is happening with technology and the humans, and is it evil, and that topic. So it was almost like the mad scientist becomes like the ruler of that, and just and then shows Rise of the Machines is you know, somebody going back in time to try to stop that, to before the machines take over humans, and then humans are gone. And then after that was Nothing to See. Nothing to See was about the aftermath, just all these crazy things happening, and nothing, empty streets, violence, it was like a lot of what was kind of going on at the time. So it's like in the back of my mind the whole time. But in the same time, it's at the same time there were like fiction type songs, but reality, like you're like, oh, hey, that kind of feels like what's going on now. So that was the point. So those three songs were really cool because I've never done that with the band where it was like, wow, these three songs. So that's my answer. All of those three songs those three songs at the same time, you listen to them one after another. That's really cool. But I don't know. I really love this new album. There's so many good songs on here that later, after listening to it so much, because it's such a I did 3 albums with this band, so after the third record, you're gonna really be connected with the band and really just writing, like you said, you said, what we sound, just really genuine, just natural, and I'm just giving it all, give my all. But damn, I can't. My favorite song on that album. My favorite song, I guess, to sing live or something like that off the new album would be. Wow, we haven't done it yet live. Love and Alchemy. Love and Alchemy is really cool. Lyrically, it's a really cool song. That, but I mean, if I would go through a few of the songs, topics on the songs for the new record, I would say like something like Demon Eye. It was not like Demon Eye, my eye. It's Demon. It went back and forth. Like it started off as Demon Eye, and then it turned into Demon Eye. The demon eye to me is like the angel on the left side, or whatever, how they say it, the angel on the left, the devil on the right. You know what I mean? That little voice in your ear going, "Go ahead, do it, do it, do it. Go ahead, do it. Don't worry about it." You know what I mean? Resistance, that kind of thing. So I always wanted to write something about that. So it was, lyrics to that kind of were like, "Demon eye, you follow me wherever I go. Don't you try, because the golden rule is to, if you stare into its eyes, you fall into that trance of just doing bad things, kind of thing. So that's a cool topic that I kind of and these are like certain songs, like that's a title I came up with. Love and Alchemy is a title that Nick came up with, and then I'll write the lyrics from my experience from that. Demon Eye, I wrote Demon Eye, the title and the lyrics, but I'm working with the guitar player. I'm working, like it's just a great connection from that overall, from everybody, honestly. I don't know. I don't want to go through every single song with you, but any other questions?
Yeah,
But
no. Love and Alchemy is one of my favorites.
oh, thanks.
I really loved Love and Alchemy. And when you were talking about like kind of like the creation of the song, and like you were talking about earlier how like, 3 of the songs you challenge yourself to really step outside of your comfort zone. But then we've also kind of been talking about like how your music is your expression of self and like your own internal release of emotions and stuff like that. And so kind of, I guess, since, we do have the new album out and kind of like keeping our mind in that space, if I were to ask you what music at its core means to you, what is music at its core?
Just emotion. I don't know, the emotion it gives to me. I don't know. There's just I like even background music. Do you know what I mean? Like ocean sounds or something like that while I'm just home. Like maybe it's just a crazy thing where you can't deal with the silence, but I also do that too. I do something that's called sensory deprivation tanks, where you'll float in a tank. I used to work at this place, and now I still go back because I love what it does for you. Because sometimes you just have to, everything's got to be really quiet. But I'm saying, but music, and there's still a vibe to that, to silence. Do you know what I mean? There's 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 a musical thing to that too, if that makes any sense to you. Um, but I we were talking earlier before we started, just the music is therapy to me. Um, I don't know what I do without music, honestly. Um, it's such a big part of my life. John, just a few things are just running in my head now. Um, just the example of uh, music when there's a good vibe. Do you know what I mean? When you walk into a room, there's music. Do you know what I mean? Without it, there's a vibe. Like you walk into a creepy kind of bar or something like that. Like oops, we walk into this bar. The vibe is like. Do you know what I mean? There's music. There's a vibe to that, and that's how I kind of feel with the music I listen to. Like oh, I want to feel like, oh, I feel I want to listen to some heavy, really, because I'm just feeling psyched tonight or whatever. Or no, I'm just gonna lay back, smoke some weed and chill out, listen to some stoner music tonight or whatever. That's what I love about music. You know what I mean? It's how it can change the way you feel, just like your daughter showing you, hey, this is how I feel. Like, oh, mom, or she could do the opposite someday. I'm so happy, mom. I feel like this. Let me tell you the song. Same thing to her. You could do this. Hi, mom, what's wrong with you? You could, oh, I feel like this. Or this is something heavy. I feel like this. I mean, that's what's so amazing about. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, what if there was no music? We'd probably, we'd find something else that would make us, feel good. But I'm just saying, if we knew that there was never going to be music again, like it was taken away from us or something, what would you do?
I
I
have
don't know.
no idea. That's a hard question. Now I'm gonna have to ponder that because I don't know. Like, because I love how you were almost expressing like music is like the air that we breathe and just like as kind of
Oh,
like everything,
I think it
you
is.
know?
I think it is. It
Yeah.
honestly is. I have a job. Like my last job was at a distillery, and working at the distillery, I got to listen to music, blast the speakers while the distiller's in there, and I'm bottling. I was a bottler, so I would bottle stuff and do that. And then after a while, after 4.5 years, I couldn't do it anymore. Like, you know what I mean? It got taken away. Like, didn't the vibe just changed? And I don't know. You know what I mean? It was like it was weird. So now I got another job where I'm a truck driver and I can listen to music anytime I want. You know what I mean? You choose how you want to live your life, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like if that was taken away from me, well, I'm going to find somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because that's how much it means to me. If you don't, have you ever met people that don't listen to music? Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and I don't understand
it's
them.
so strange, right? It's like,
I'm like, you don't
really?
like music?
You Sometimes I have conversations when I was younger. One of my, I don't know who told me, but it just stuck with me. When you have a conversation with somebody, so you become friends with somebody. Hey, oh, so what are you listening to right now? Like, what's in your CD player right now? I'm just curious. Whatever. Tell me. And then that just starts a conversation. Oh, you're into that? Okay, that's cool. Whatever. I'm not that. That's cool. Whatever. But hey, maybe you like this band or whatever. Just stuff like that. That's a connection that you know, makes the world go round. I love it. I look forward
Right?
to it
And
when you play shows too. You play shows, you meet people, and they're like, "Hey, I really dig your band. No way, that's cool. Hey, you remind me of this person or that, or like, oh, that's cool, yeah, because I do like that or whatever." And then, and that's cool. And then they hang out and they tell you another friend, and it's just it's like tape trading. When we were growing up, all the music we used to just share with
make a
other people.
mixtape.
Yeah, I
Make
mean,
you a
just share.
mixtape. That was the way of sharing yourself, like
Yeah,
mixtape. Then it became like the mixed CD. You were gonna burn them a CD. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean that's it's like that in relationships, right? When you were little, right? When relationships and stuff, you're like, "Hey, I got you a mixtape or whatever." You know, this
Yes.
is what I listen to. Oh, this is cool. So you kind of get the personality of somebody through that too. Yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing actually kind of how you can tell like a lot about a person's
it
personality like by what they listen
absolutely
to.
by what they. Yes, you're that's true too. There was a great meme I saw for. I'm a huge vinyl record collector, so I've been doing that for quite a few years since I was pretty young. I still stay on top of it. I'm looking over here. There's all my vinyls over there. But
Yeah, you had a massive vinyl collection. I
I
was
could show you
looking at
really
it right
quick
before you
a little bit there.
like
There's a few
it's
crates,
amazing.
but I forgot what I was going to say. No, there was a meme that I saw and it said, you could tell your friends by what their vinyl collection looks like. I was like, that's true. Yeah. Let me see your vinyl collection, whatever, or your music, whatever you're into. Yeah. Or your partner, or whoever you're with. Even, that was a big connection for whoever I'm with. Um, it's like, what kind of music do you listen to? Or how much you love music? Like just that. Like that
Yeah.
connection alone is a great, person to hang around. Because I don't know if I
Yeah,
could
we
be
don't
with
even have to
somebody.
like the same music, but like
Yeah,
we have to at least be speaking in the same universal language here.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Almost like music itself is like a whole nother language just in itself and a way to understand. It's actually kind of funny because my son was the exact opposite of my daughter. He would hide his music playlist. He would nobody know what he was listening to. Half the time it was because of the thing like he was
Was
listening
he
to he
was
was
he
really
ashamed of it, or was it really
yes,
like
because he
as an
likes like
adult?
Melanie Martinez when he was
Uh-oh.
younger. He loved her. And so he'd be jamming out and I'm like, why? Melanie Martinez is awesome. Like just play it on the speaker. And he's like, but now I feel insecure about it. And I'm like,
Maybe his friends make fun of him about it or something, or I don't know. Like, yeah,
yeah, it was because he
whatever.
he likes more slow melodic music,
Okay.
and coming from a family that listens to all rock and heavy metal, he's
Ah,
always
so he
like,
likes
I'm
the
not letting
change. Yeah,
y'all listen to my stuff,
yeah
you
he's the
know.
opposite. That actually like it changes things up. That's kind of more. It's a little exciting too. Take it that way.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's
It
cool.
is
That's
actually when
cool.
he shares his music, it's kind of it's really cool when I can actually get him to do it. And I'm like, see, it wasn't so bad. And he was like, in my head, it was so much worse. Okay. Because to him, like, and I think it's because he knows me as a soul. I'm gonna breathe in every lyric of whatever that song is he just showed me. And
Yeah.
he's like, no,
You're
I'm
gonna see
fixing to
through me, mom.
analyze
Yeah,
through this,
yeah,
through this,
yeah,
through this.
yeah. He's vulnerable. Yeah, yeah. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's
He's
cool
like,
though.
I have
That's
to
cool.
express way too much vulnerability to you, mom, in order to let you listen to my song. And kind of like even on that topic, I want to ask you, what's your current replay song?
What am I listening to right now?
Yeah, like
Um,
what's that song that you can't get out of your head that's just kind of on repeat?
oh, oh God. Well, every now and then when I turn the radio on, Bon Jovi's on, Living on a Prayer. It's like it's on like every day, every 10 seconds, that damn song. So that sometimes I'm always hearing that. But I've been like I told you, we've been writing a few songs, new songs. So I usually listen to that over and over every day, without my vocals on there coming up with melodies or phrases. So I've been doing a lot of that. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of catchy stuff from that, and that's the what I love doing. Um, there's a band called Sorcerer from Sweden I've been listening to for the past few years. That's really cool. As far as like the type of music we kind of do, and like Sabbathy, um, doomy, uh, really cool lyrics, story type stuff, which I kind of connect with. So they're pretty cool.
What would be a song that you would recommend to somebody to be their first song to listen to by Sorcerer?
By Sorcerer, I like Sirens. I think it's called Sirens. It's from
Sirens? That's my homework for
Sirens.
tonight.
Yeah, yeah, Sirens. Siren, I think it might be Siren or Siren. It's off of Crowning. I can't think of the name of the album right now. Crowning of the Fire King is the name of their album. Put that on there. But they just put out like another album but they're cool. They're really cool. We've been trying to jam with them for them to come over to the States because I think they came over here once, but yeah, they're over in Sweden doing a bunch of stuff over there. But they're really cool.
What
Not
would
too
your
much
dream collab be? Like if you had a dream collaboration with another artist, like what would that dream collab look like for you and why?
right now, or that can't happen anymore because maybe somebody passed away, or there's well,
If space, time, nothing was the limit, dead, alive, like who would have been that person that you wish you could have um had that moment
huh?
with to collab?
Oh, I don't know. It would be a few bands, I guess, like a bill, you know what I mean? Like let's say there's a metal bill, right? Spillage. We're like, we don't need to be the headliners. We could be like second to last or something like that. Um, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the band Trouble, and actually the guitar player is a producer of our last three records, but because they're from that area. But I love that band. Um, so Trouble back, with the original lineup, more or less. 1990, when I used to go see them play, that would have been kick ass. I would love to have them on, play with them. I used to be a huge Slayer fan when I was younger in like 86. So I don't know if you could tell my influences, but I grew up listening to a lot of thrash metal. I'm 52, but so I listened to the whole thrash era of the 80s. You know what I mean? Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, Overkill, Death Angel, huge. I love the singer from Death Angel. That's a huge influence on my voice, I think. Vocally melodies, stuff like that. John Bush from Anthrax, Armored Saint, stuff like that. Eric Wagner, the singer from Trouble, Phil Anselmo from Pantera, early Pantera when he used to sing. You know what I mean? Raspy, Rob Halford from Judas Priest. The top kings. Ronnie James Dio, top king. I got to record an album with the guitar player from Dio in 2013 in a band called Pain Savior. So that was God, a blessing. You know what I mean? And that was like a teacher that mentored me to become, a good songwriter and do that with Spillage and bring it up. We raise the bar every album if we can. Hopefully we do. So just,
No, I love that. And and now I kind of want to throw you for a little bit of a loop because my next question is if you had to pick another art form to express yourself through, what art form would you have picked? And if you had to pick something besides, since you're a vocalist, what instrument would you want to learn how to play? If
uh,
you couldn't do vocals, what would you do? And if you couldn't do music, which other art form would you choose?
other art form. I'm a painter too, but I mean, I'm already doing that too. But just if I could make like a living doing something like that, that would be amazing. But I don't know. I like writing songs better anyway. But um, God, I don't know. I always like the idea of really learning how to like record professionally, like with a board, in a studio, like work at a studio with musicians and maybe just get better at that. That would be really cool. Um, excuse me. So that would be, I guess, something I would do besides uh, music. If I couldn't sing, um, I already dabble guitar, bass, and stuff. You know what I mean? I could get better at stuff like that. But if I couldn't sing, uh, I've always wanted to learn how to play piano. I can't play piano. I know a little bit. I have a piano upstairs and don't play it that much because I never, I need a lesson from somebody to teach me how to do that. But I'd love to really learn how to play piano and just do something like that. So that's what I would say, piano.
No, no, that's beautiful. And sometimes I don't know if you like the vibe with it, but I love a good metal song that adds some violin and some piano into it
Yeah.
and just
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
I mean,
gives that.
Spillage. We have the keyboards in there. That's the first
Yeah,
time.
I
That's the
love
first
that.
first band that. I mean, Paul Rao is the keyboard player, and he's amazing. He's also a music teacher too. So, and I think you could hear
Oh, that's
that.
cool.
Yeah, because he really knows melody and just harmonies and how to just really raise. I think he really lifts up my vocals the way he just can do some beautiful, beautiful piano behind certain
There's your
songs.
teacher right
It's
there.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I never got around to it. I actually bought a Casio keyboard, a really nice one at like a Goodwill place for like I got a good deal on it. And I talked to Paul Rao about it. I was like, hey, Paul, you got to teach me or whatever. Or what do I need? What cables to kind of, get this working? And then I wound up just selling it just so I need the money. But yeah,
That's fair.
but I
No,
love
no, that's
singing. So I'm going to try to sing for as long as I can. As long as I have this voice, I'm just going to keep going at it. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's just kind of one of those more like little lighthearted questions
Sure.
because I like,
It's
you know,
interesting.
that
No, that's cool.
um and I guess my last question is if, what advice would you have for newer musicians who are just starting out? And what's one thing that you've learned throughout your musical career that you wish you had have known sooner?
Okay. So the first question, um, I would say, uh, you, if you really want to do something like music and you love it and you want to be a singer or whatever, you know, practice, stay on it, stay with it. If it's here, if it's, here in your heart, you want to just keep working at it, you know, you know, make sure you're doing other stuff too. So you got to have a plan B, but singing is amazing for you. I think just for your soul, if you can, or play guitar, you know what I mean? You can do that twice a week, do it, stay on it. Just to be true to yourself. Just try to work at it. Just know that you're not going to, oh, I wish I was better or whatever. You just got to stay at it. And the second, what was your second question? What was
What's one thing that you've learned throughout your career and throughout the process that you wish you had have known sooner?
Yeah, and that's my answer is from all like the musicians you play with, like make sure you pick the right people to be around. I think it's really important because it shapes you. I mean, we're tribal. We need to be in groups, you know what I mean? And that shapes you to how you can, move on with your life and make certain choices, and there's consequences to a lot of things. Um, so I just think that's what I learned is to just, I would be in bands when I was younger, and I'm also at fault at stuff with this, but sometimes they would not be as into it as I would be, and it would make the band fall apart. You know what I mean? It would be two people would be like, yeah, whatever, whatever, and then you just, you start playing shows and it falls apart. And then you get another band, and it gradually becomes, well, let's party. That's more important than playing, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'll party with you, but like you're more into it. And so eventually the band falls apart. So, and I kept doing that. And then eventually, I had no band. And then I just started writing myself. I picked up a guitar. I learned how to play, had a drum machine, whatever it took. And then I do a shape a song because I kind of know how to write a song and just go from there. Next thing you know, people would notice, send it to somebody else. Hey, you want to join a band? Blah, blah. Play cover songs with bands, whatever it takes, however far you want to take this, you know what I mean? And do it for the reasons that, you know, that are, do it for yourself, do it for just, uh, to get better at it, to just, don't, don't, I don't see a lot of money in this business because it is a music business, but it's also, I mean, the reward for me has already happened. I'm 52. I've done it since I was like maybe 15 or 16. I want to make albums. I want to do a tour. I want to party. I want to be with my friends. I want to have stories. You know what I mean? I want my parents to be proud of me. I want them to see if they, before, or I mean, in a lot of ways, when my mother passed in 2012, that changed my life and made me fight even harder. Like this is for you, but knowing that it's here, it's from me. It is all for me, but you just have, a goal and just, you know, things like that change your life, and make you a better person. So just be true to yourself. That's my best advice. And work hard, and you'll get rewarded.
No, that's beautiful. And I love how you were even talking about like, when your mother passed away, that trying harder and like just like that she's
Oh
still
wow.
here with you on your journey and your mission. And like that Phoenix moment of, alchemizing literally everything into
Oh,
the
I'll
beautiful
give you
music that you create today.
I'm sorry, I'll give you an example of when my mother passed. She had cancer, and she was dealt with it for 4 years, and it was really tough. And we all knew, that it was coming, and God bless her. After she passed, a few months after that, I feel like a guardian angel came because a guitar player I worked with, Tracy G from Dio, called me up, and I've known him for a few years before that and tried out, and but it didn't work out, but he remembered me and called me back up and said, hey, you want to make a record? And that started the whole ball again. You know what I mean? And it felt like, to me, there's a reason to keep going on, because I kind of stopped singing and stopped playing and nothing. I didn't have a band formed at that time. So to me, that was a uh gave me a lot of purpose, to still, to this day, I everywhere I go, every song I sing, I've sang. Another example, I've written songs about my mother and how I felt, when that happened, because when that happened, I wrote an album with Tracy G. So there's a lot of songs on there are about how I was going. It's a part of your life. It's where I'm at that time. Same thing with, later on in Spillage, there's songs scattered throughout that album that are reminders of my mother and why I'm here, and purpose, and it's just, yeah, yeah. It's a big, and a lot of people that I've lost along the way, that have molded me, or just a certain, just part of my life throughout, that, a reminder, um, that life is short. So just do as much as you can while you're here, and people will
You
remember
know,
that.
what's beautiful about that is it almost like pops all the way about where we were talking about time at the beginning of the um of the interview, and talking about like embracing those moments and even, alchemizing them and living for
because you
them. And I love, I'm
because
sorry,
you
go ahead.
know because in the back of your mind, we only are here for a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
yeah, and as we get older, you realize it as you're older, and the people that you're around, and your daughter and your family and stuff like that. As you get older, you cherish every day more and more, because you do know that time is ticking. You know what I mean? And we're the only species that
yeah,
knows that, which is so strange, right? But it's so, and that's, and from what you're saying, that's I think that's kind of the theme of what, like, the next album is kind of like turning into, like, because every album is like, it starts to mold into something. Or like, because there's like two or three songs that we're kind of working on now, and it does have the time theme in it. It's the time theme. In Time
awesome.
is one of the names, and there's another one. We're going to change it, but it was called Until the End of Time. So it's going to be until the end. So it was like, and these are like, I'm not like doing it purposely. You know what I mean? That's the magic of music and lyrics and stuff like that, or just the way you're feeling, or the people you're working with. To wrap this all up, the people, the musicians you're working with, they know they're on the same page as you, and we're like, okay, this is molding into this now. Well, you know what I mean? So I think we're gonna keep on chopping at that idea, because time's everything right now. It doesn't stop
Yeah.
for nobody. Doesn't stop for nobody.
And I wish that, that's something that I wish we understood that more when we were younger, to value
Yeah,
that time more when we were
yeah,
younger. Because I
I
think when
know.
it's funny how time even changes, right? Like if you were told that you were going to go do something that was really fun in a week as a kid, you'd be like, oh my God, that's a lifetime. If you were to tell me it was going to be a week now, I'd be like, oh my God, do I even have time to look at my phone between then and now?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Isn't it crazy?
time, you get older, time just floofs. But when you're
Yeah.
young, it seems to like a week is forever.
And
And it's
as we get
amazing how it
older,
changes.
we forget more too. Do you know what I mean? I forgot, like, what? Oh yeah, I remember. Like, I'm forgetting more. of what I did in my 30s, like when I was 30, what I was doing when I was 15. Do you know what I mean? Like all these little memories. That's what I love. That's one of the main things that I love about working with Tony Spillman from Spillage, the guitar player, and he has such a great positive attitude about where we're at as a band and musicians. Like, hey, we've done a few tours when we started and stuff like that, and we're playing shows here and there when we can. And COVID's really affected a lot of things for touring and money, and just it's expensive to go out there, and we can't go. We'd love to go out there and play tons of shows like a lot of other bands, but they're in that same bind too. But he's like, listen, Elvin, we're going to play, a show maybe a month, every month or whatever like that if we can. And we're just going to make memories, Elvin. You know what I mean? We're going to make stories for us. You know what I mean? So later on, we can look back on that and just say, wow, yeah, yeah, that was cool. Remember that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got the pictures, because, that's what it's all about, right? It's about having a good time. It's not all about the money. It's all about having a good time and just, being good, being kind, having a blast. We're all there, like you said, music is, every music is universal. Um, yeah, we're all there to hang out and just have a good friggin' time. So let's do it and then see how far we can go.
Right? Well, it's almost like, music does, like, it awakens parts of our soul, and it's like that fire in us that loves life, that wants to experience the beauty of life and its emotions, and realizes that there's no good or bad emotions, right? That it's all just the beauty of us.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes we get so focused on the work aspect and finance, which, don't get me wrong, I understand that we have to have money to survive and stuff like that. But once it becomes our sole focus, it's almost like the fire in us just dies.
yeah,
Like that
yeah,
that beauty. You have to have something to balance out. Like, yes, what's that old saying? Work hard to play hard. But if there's no playing hard with the working hard, then the scales are just too unbalanced and we just become numb,
yeah,
kind of. And it's amazing how music can really bring us back to life and make us re-enjoy those moments that you were talking about, and being there and like living it to its fullest. And so I think that that's really awesome that you said that. And it's honestly, it's been a true honor speaking with you today, and I appreciate you and just
you
everything.
too.
Is
Thank
there
you. You too.
anything you want? Oh, thank you. Is there anything you want fans to know before we go that you haven't said that you really want them to know?
Um, Other bands to know. I mean, yeah, just keep at it. Just do what you do, and oh, yeah, just just be true to yourself. I mean, if you love music, it's just so different now the way bands are put together. Like I'm just maybe this makes you feel old now, but I going to a rehearsal studio and you get the band together and everybody's in the same room. A lot of that's not that being maybe maybe I'm not seeing it, but a lot of newer bands, are they doing that now when they're writing songs, or they how's that work now? Like I just to me, I'm just the connection, what I mean? As long as there's that connection, um, a lot of magic can happen from that. So just find the right people to connect with, and get a band, go out there, kick ass, and have other people will notice. And you get together with other bands, the same way. That's what we try to do. We try to hook up with the same kind of bands that have the same attitude, to just go out there and just kick ass and just, wow, you were just awesome. Okay, we're gonna go up now. We better be really good too. I mean, that's fun. It's just makes us feel alive. So yeah, that's it. Do that.
No,
And
I love
um
that.
and,
And
and
what
let me
about
just
with
plug.
spillage?
So
Oh,
Spillage,
sorry.
if you want to check out the band, we have you can go to YouTube and go to Spillage Rocks, because we think we rock, and hopefully everybody else thinks we rock. And we have tons of
Spillage
lyric
rocks.
videos. Rocks, ROCKS. Um, we have lyric videos up there. We have tons of live, all our shows we did, in the past. Subscribe on YouTube. You can also go to Facebook, Spillage Rocks, same thing. Like us on there. we have tons of stuff. We always tell you what's going on. I rehearse with the band. I don't know if I told you, I'm from Pennsylvania. The band is from Illinois. I joined the band back in 2016, and trying out for them in Maryland. So I
Okay.
drove to Maryland, auditioned for them at a Doom festival. They were playing because their singer, they didn't have the time, but they still had the show booked. And they were like, "Hey, you want to try out for the band?" A month before. I said, "Yeah, okay." So drove down, joined the band, and then I fly out and do shows in Illinois. And I've been doing that with them for about 7 years now. So it's a great experience to do that with the guys. Um, Oh, I'm sorry. So one more thing is the Bandcamp page. So you can support us by buying merchandise from us, CDs, DVDs. I mean, not DVDs, CDs, records. You get digital downloads on spillage.bandcamp.com, and that helps the band. Helps a lot. It's a great site for bands to get all their money from sales and stuff, and keeps the bands going because it's a little tough out there, but as long as you help the bands out by doing small stuff like that, supporting the bands, and we'll do this as long as we can. That's it.
No, that's amazing. And guys, please remember, I will have all the links listed in the description below so that you can find them, check them out, and send them tons of love. And make sure, guys, that you remember that the best way to support your artists too is by sharing their music and letting your friends hear it and sharing it, guys. And so thank you so much. I appreciate you dearly. It has been an amazing honor talking with you,
All right,
and
on.
I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you.
You too. Thank you.